Mike, would you do me a favor, please? Get together a list of some of Pitbull's cheesiest lyrics, and I'd like Tim Kurkjian to just read them because I'd like this to be like a performance art poetry reading type of thing, just in Tim Kurkjian's voice. Some of Pitbull's lyrics so that he could dig deep into his soul. He could feel what it's like to wear incredibly tight white pants with a women's batting practice shirt. I want him to know. I want him to feel it down in his plums. We have...
My favorite Pitbull lyric was that time do you remember when he rhymed Kodak with Kodak? That was great. Yeah, right. Picture that with a Kodak. Or better yet, go to Times Square, take a picture of me with a Kodak.
Okay,
yeah.
no.
It's a good song, man.
Just get me some sexual lyrics, but not too sexual, and put them in front of Kurkjian, and we'll have him read some of Pitbull's most sensual music. I want to ask you this question, though, Tim, because we were talking about it, and I want an honest answer because you're very delicate, you're very gentle, and when someone has a lousy idea, you don't normally say that's a lousy idea. You come in and you're very nice to them. Well, that's an interesting point to consider. I want your honest answer here. Don't be gentle, okay? Stugotz wants no more extra innings in baseball. He thinks we need to reach young people in baseball and that young people have a short attention span and that baseball has done a great job in fixing its home run derby by fixing that the audience has poor attention spans.
Right.
And here's 4 minutes. Here's your home runs. Here's 30 seconds of bonus time.
They've created excitement and urgency with the clocks, with the matchups, with all that stuff. They've created. Last night was so exciting. And I think for fans, and the ratings skyrocketed last night for the home run derby.
And that's partially Aaron Judge. But how would you feel about deciding games in extra innings or after the 11th or the 12th or whenever with something like what we saw last night?
I'm totally against it,
Right.
and I think it's going to happen because I think baseball's urgency to speed up these games is going to force a change. It's not going to have we're not going to have tie games, but we're going to do what they did in the WBC. We're going to put a guy on second base to start the 12th inning. This is 20 years from now, maybe 10 years from now. And if that run doesn't score in the 12th, they're going to put him at third to start the 13th inning or something like that. And I was amazed because I just wrote this story for .com about what baseball is going to look like in 20 years. And Stugotz is not alone in this thinking from people who are actually in the game. But me being old and a purist, I just don't want this to happen. I think some of the best, greatest stuff I've ever seen comes out of an 18-inning game, a 20-inning game when the catcher has to go pitch in a game that's still tied. I love that stuff. Now, do I enjoy 6.5-hour games? Of course not.
Right.
But I think to change the rules like that would be way, way too much, and I'm against it.
But, Tim, let me try it this way, and I understand why you're against it. I think a lot of people would be against it, but if I gave you a position at Major League Baseball and I put you in charge of attracting a younger demographic, would you be more for it? Would you be okay with that? Because I think people would be rooting for
once you've opened the door on this once you've opened the door that Tim's talking about, runners on second, runners on third, then it's not any big leap to what it is that you're talking about because you're already mutating the traditional.
No, Tim, and imagine like Nationals Marlins go 9 innings, it's tied, and then it's Harper versus Stanton. They each have 3 minutes, and then we're done. 10 minutes, game's wrapped up, and it's exciting.
I think all of his ideas are cockamamie, except for this one.
Right.
Like, yes. I don't think that this is asinine, specifically because baseball's got an aging customer problem.
Right. There's no doubt. And I have trouble relating to young people, even though I have 2 kids, 23, 26. And I have problem relating. And yet these kids want, action right away. And you're right. The clock in the home run derby has changed the whole thing.
Yes.
It's made it way better. Todd Frazier racing against the clock 2 years ago and telling his brother, who's a BP guy, throw it quicker, we got to go. That's what adds. So the beauty of baseball is there is no clock, and now the clock has saved the home run derby.
Right.
And it's great. But I just think there's a big difference between a home run derby and a Major League Baseball game, and I'm not going there. I can't.
I just love the idea of some team having to win in the margins around by having to sign an expensive batting practice pitcher in the event that extra innings, like you have to sign, you can't have just some old guy. You can't have Perry Hill out there just throwing a baseball.
You could just have Heath Bell throw him right down the plate.
Yes, just normal. Yeah.
Ricky Nolasco.
But as you guys know, we keep trying to speed up the game, and as long as we average 16.5 strikeouts per game, and a whole bunch of walks and 42% of our runs scored are on home runs, the games are going to take a long time. I mean, this is just the way it works. I've told you guys, the 1960 famous Bill Mazeroski game, 0 strikeouts in that game. And now we average 16 and a half per game. And that's what's taken up all the time. So I love the idea of let's get some of the dead time out of the game, but all those strikeouts, all those walks, all those home runs are the reason we're at 308 average time or whatever it is now.